I stopped reacting to anything for 30 days. People around me started to fall apart. I want to tell you about day 11. My closest friend said something designed to provoke me. I know this because he had said versions of it before, and it had always worked. A comment about something I cared about, delivered with the specific casualness of someone who knows exactly what they are doing. I said nothing, not because I was suppressing anger, not because I was being strategic, because the rules of the experiment required it. No reaction of any kind, positive or negative, to anything anyone said or did. He said it again, slightly differently, pushing. I looked at him and said, "Interesting," and watched something happen to his face that I had never seen there before. Not anger. Something more uncomfortable than anger. The specific discomfort of a person who has thrown something and watched it pass through the target without making contact. I wrote in my journal that night, I did not know that my reactions were holding other people together. The setup. The experiment was this: 30 days of zero reactivity, not emotional suppression. I was allowed to feel everything, not social withdrawal. I continued all normal interactions. The rule was singular and specific: no visible reaction to any external stimulus, no enthusiasm, no irritation, no surprise, no validation, no offense. Whatever arrived, good news, bad news, provocations, compliments, crises, I received it with the same quiet acknowledgement. Not coldness, presence without reaction. The difference matters. I began on a Wednesday. By day 3, I had already discovered something I had not anticipated. The first week. What reactions actually do? I had always thought of my reactions as responses. Something happens, I respond. Simple causality, arrow pointing one way. This is wrong. Reactions are not just responses. They are social infrastructure. They are the invisible architecture that other people build their behavior on. When you laugh at someone's joke, you are not just responding to the joke. You are giving them information about who they are in relation to you. When you get upset at a provocation, you are not just expressing feeling. You are confirming that the provocation has power. Remove the reactions, and the architecture becomes visible precisely because it collapses. Day 4. A colleague made a joke at my expense in a meeting. I smiled slightly and moved on. He made another one. I acknowledged it neutrally. By the third attempt, his voice had changed. The joke was no longer funny even to him. He stopped. Day 6. Someone close to me shared good news with an energy that required matching energy in return. I said, "That sounds really good," genuinely, but without the enthusiasm that the moment seemed to demand. The conversation ended faster than it should have. I could feel the unmet expectation sitting in the air between us. Day 7. I wrote, "My reactions are not mine. They belong to the people around me. They have been shaped by what those people need from me, not by what I actually feel." This was uncomfortable to write. It was more uncomfortable because it was true. The middle. What started happening around day 10, the experiment stopped being about me and became about everyone else. The people in my life, I discovered, had built complex systems around my reactivity, systems I had not known existed because I had always been inside them, providing the reactions that kept them running. My friend, the one from day 11, turned out to need my reactions more than I'd understood. Not because he was manipulative, necessarily, but because my enthusiasm validated his ideas. My irritation confirmed his provocations were landing. My worry during his problems made his problems feel significant. Without my reactions, his behavior had nothing to push against. And behavior with nothing to push against becomes uncertain about itself. By day 14, he had started asking me directly what I thought. Not performing to get a reaction, asking, actually asking. The removal of the automatic reaction had created a space where genuine exchange became necessary. This was not what I expected. Day 17. A family member who regularly created small dramas, situations requiring my concern, my intervention, my emotional participation, created one. I listened. I acknowledged. I did not perform the concern that the situation seemed designed to produce. The drama dissolved in under 4 minutes. Without the reaction it was designed to provoke, it had no architecture to stand on. I wrote, "I have been an audience for performances I did not know were performances." The final week. What I found, By day 25, the landscape had changed completely. The people who had needed my reactions to sustain certain dynamics, they had either adjusted or withdrawn, not consciously, but the interactions had recalibrated around the new version of me. Some relationships felt emptier, some felt, for the first time, honest. Day 28. I had a conversation with someone I loved that was the most direct exchange we had ever had. No performance on either side, no reaction seeking, just two people saying what they actually thought. It happened because I had stopped providing the reactions that made performance possible. Day 30. I sat with the experiment completed and tried to understand what I had actually learned. It was not what I expected to learn. I had expected to learn something about my own emotional control. Instead, I had learned something about the social contract, the unspoken agreement between people about what each person's role is and what emotional labor each person will provide. I had been providing enormous amounts of emotional labor without knowing it, not because anyone had asked, because the system required it, and I had never stepped outside the system long enough to see it from the outside. What I know now, I react differently now. Not less, differently. The automatic reactions that required no thought, the enthusiasm on demand, the irritation on cue, the worry when someone needed me to worry. Those I examine before I give. Not always, but more than before. The genuine reactions. The ones that arrive because something actually moved me. Those I give more fully than I did before, because I can feel the difference now between the reaction that is mine and the reaction that belongs to the social system that expects it. The most surprising finding of the experiment was not what happened to me. It was what happened to the people around me when I stopped giving them what they had always expected to receive. Some of them found out who they were, without my reactions holding them in place. Some of them did not like what they found, and some of them, the ones I'm still closest to, turned out not to need the reactions at all. They had just been taking them because they were offered.